These are two of my current favorite everyday carry knives, and again, two of the most popular everyday carry knives you will find on the market. Hey my YouTube friends, it's a late Boy Scout here to throw in on one of the most popular everyday carry knives out there. This is the Benchmade Mini Griptillian 556. Yes, one of the most popular knives out there. Almost everybody's got one if they're into collecting blades. A very, very cool and very, very ergonomic and just darn near perfect knife. I mean, I don't think it gets much better than the Mini Griptillian. It really, really doesn't. This is one of the most standard, most common versions you'll find out there with the black scales. It does have black thumb studs though, and that's a little bit unusual. Proud of that fact. Very cool. Gives it a nice little accent, don't you think? Why is this knife so dang popular? Oh man, I had no idea why until I got one in my hand and tried it out. The ergonomics on it are fantastic. It feels great in hand. Feels wonderful in hand. And I think that's part of why it's called the Griptillian. You can just, it's hard to get a bad grip on this knife. Also, they might be calling it the Griptillian because it's so grippy. The scales here are nicely knurled. And that pattern is actually quite grippy. It's almost near G10 quality in grippiness. Then of course you've got a little bit of semi-rounded jimping up here on the spine and on the spine of the knife. And of course molded into the plastic here, there. Then down here at the base, more of that molding. And some around here as well. Then follow it up here and some more jimping there. Okay, this is actually quite, well, it's not super effective. I'm not going to say that it, tears up your thumb effective, but for a knife this size, you're generally going to put this through a lot of everyday carry tasks, right? Not a survival knife, not a super hard use knife. So what it might lack in aggressive jimping, I really don't mind because again, it's just a small knife that you can easily have with you all the time and get your everyday carry tasks done. It's got a nice flat ground blade from about this point down and that beautiful Benchmade logo on it, 556 underneath it. Of course, it's 154 cm steel, designed by Mel Pardue. Thank you, Mel. 154 cm is one of my favorite steels. I'll take it anytime I can get it. It just performs very, very well. It sharpens quite easily too, and that's also one thing I really, really like about it. It's just a serviceable steel. And that's great for everyday carry, isn't it? Because we want to be able to resharpen our blade without too much difficulty. If it becomes difficult to resharpen, we may stop sharpening it and end up either carrying a dull knife around or not carrying it at all, right? The pocket clip is a very standard Benchmade pocket clip. They put this one or else the split arrow on almost everything they make. And honestly, I don't mind it. I'm pretty happy with it. And let's see, it'll poke out of your pocket about that much, which doesn't bother me really. You've got a little bit of a loop there, a little hole for a lanyard if you prefer to have a lanyard on it. It is disassemblable, and I have disassembled this knife and put it back together again. It's tricky to do that, but I was, once I figured it out and did it, I was happy that I did because it opened and closed a little bit smoother. It had been a little bit dirty and needed a good cleaning. So taking it apart and putting it back together was pretty good for this knife. So it's good to know that it is serviceable by the user if the user chooses to service it. I believe that Benchmade recommends against that, but you know what? It's your knife. Do what you want to do with it. One thing I really like about it is the width. It's not too wide in pocket, and that's always a concern for me. I don't know why I'm so picky about it, to be honest, but I am. I don't like a really fat pocket knife. I really, really love the axis lock. Makes for fast and easy deployment and closing, and I'll just demonstrate that for you real quick. Most people I know will depress it like so with one thumb and then push that blade slowly, and then do the same thing when they're opening it, just sort of slowly roll it out. However, if you want to get it out quick, just get your thumb behind that thumb stud, flies out. If you want to get it closed quick, just get your thumb on that axis lock, give it a little close. It's pretty easy actually. Just give it kind of a little whip and then let go of that access lock as it comes into contact. If you don't let go of the lock, it's going to do something like that, bounce back out. Okay, not too much of a problem as long as you're careful, and of course keep your fingers out of the way as you do that. I like this knife so much, I got it twice. Here's the Benchmade Mini Griptillian 555. Now, the current version of the 555 actually has a circular thumb hole, not an oval one like this, and has a hollow ground blade. This one has a flat ground blade. So you're not going to find this version of the 555 brand new, probably. Not from Benchmade's website anyway. If you may find it at some retailer who has not sold out of it yet, or at a secondary, on the secondary market someplace, eBay perhaps, I don't know, local classifieds, whatever you got, if you're interested in this one over the current 555. Honestly, I don't see a big problem with the current 555, the hollow ground version of that. I don't have one, but I don't see a problem with hollow grinding instead of flat grind for a knife like this, for an everyday carry knife. And I certainly don't see a problem with a round circular thumb hole in place of this oval one. I don't see a problem with the oval either, except that, sometimes it's a little bit harder to get a good purchase with your thumb on that and get a good deployment. That one was okay, but sometimes it's a little bit tougher. However, my preferred method of deployment and retracting the blade is just by using the axis lock. Easy to do safely as long as you keep your fingers out of the way, and that's not hard to do either. Just wrap them around that pocket clip. Okay, pretty easy. Of course, this is the partially serrated version of the 555, the old 555. Almost a sheep's foot blade there, and I actually like that blade shape a lot on this particular knife. Kind of swoops down and then comes to that sort of sheep's foot. I don't know why, but it's just attractive to me. The serrations, actually, I don't mind them. I typically don't like serrations on my blades, but on this one, I don't know why. They don't bother me at all. I've kind of liked them, and they do look cool, actually. I don't know. It just gives the blade a little bit of personality, doesn't it? Super popular knife with good reason. One of those good reasons is that its weight, which is only about 2.5 ounces. That's a great feature for a small Benchmade like this. A small, good, high quality knife like this. But you pay for quality, don't you? Yeah, with a knife like this, you're looking at anywhere from probably $80, $90. I guess it depends on where you buy it, but yeah, look at spending around that much money. What can you get, around this size that's serviceable, that's good, fairly good quality, for considerably less money? Well, what should we start with? How about the Buck Vantage? Something like 25 bucks for that. Awesome, incredible price. What else have we got? How about the CRKT Pizzota? And I think that runs you, sub 20 if I remember right. What about this? Holy crap. You seen one of these? It's a Sanren Mu. That one's shipped from China for less than $16. I think it was like 14 or 15 actually. Here's the Kershaw Oso Suite. This is the AUS 6 version. The 8 version, AUS 8 is out there now. Oh man, something like 25 bucks for that, I think. What else? Kershaw Chill, even less. I think that comes in at around, I don't remember, less than 20, sub 20. There's a ton of knives out there. If you're just looking for a knife that will get the job done and be a good everyday carry knife, something that you can sharpen easily, carry every single day because it's so light, so small, there's just a ton of them out there. So yes, there's a ton of competition for the Mini Griptillian. So why would you spend that much money on this knife when you could have any of those others? That's a tough thing to answer, and it kind of comes down to, to that, right? You pay for the logo sometimes. However, it's also a very, very well-built, well-designed quality knife, and once you get it in hand, you just might realize why it costs so much, and you just might be willing to shell out that kind of dough. So there you go, the Benchmade Mini Griptillian 556, and 555. These are two of my current favorite everyday carry knives, and again, two of the most popular everyday carry knives you will find on the market. They sell well, people love them, I love them, and with good reason. Well, that's my review, guys. I'm the Late Boy Scout. This is the Benchmade Griptillian 556 and 555. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.